Good afternoon, Keisha. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Good. Glad to hear it. Alrighty. So, you are coming to me today with a wealth of experience. I see that you've done some customer service slash admin type roles for a local call center. You have some management experience, and then, of course, some banking experience. So, when you were at Undercover Tourist, I'm familiar with them. We have worked with them in the past. You are a customer service representative there. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you did for them?
Okay, so we would answer calls for our clients. Um, they needed questions about the different theme parks, what rides were good for them, how much tickets would be. We actually kind of created the whole vacation trip for them from start
Okay.
to finish. Um,
So you were
and
taking inbound calls, or were you doing inbound and outbound?
we were doing both
Okay.
in and out.
And were you also managing the email boxes?
Yes, we had our own individual email. So we actually did live chats as well, where we would answer questions via live
Mhm.
chat.
Okay. And then what type of follow-up did you have to do after those calls? Were you sending out like itineraries where you had to be detailed and handling like all those aspects? That's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, sometimes clients will want refunds on trips that were canceled. So we would be the ones to submit a refund to the billing department, and then we have to notify the client, um,
Mhm.
like what that we've submitted the request and that the request is being sent to their account, and within
Okay.
the time frame.
All right. And then prior to that, you had a leadership position at a local business here in Port Orange. And so tell me a little bit about what was entailed in that position, because I'm feeling that that was a lot of admin type work based on the company.
Yes, I was actually a manager at three locations. So I was in
Mhm.
charge of all bank, like taking the deposits to the bank and then opening up the location. So I would do 2 days at one store, 2 days at another, and 2 days at the other store. So we did mostly packing and shipping and
Mhm.
mail side of things. When they wanted to ship things out through FedEx, UPS, those type of things, we would take calls. I was also a notary there as well.
Mhm.
So we would do notary. I would look over mortgages. We did marriage certificates. Um, we also took in like large shipments from like freight companies, and we would
Mhm.
make custom boxes for them to have them shipped
Okay.
out. Yeah.
All right. And so you were handling, of course, lots of mail. Were you doing any type of scanning? Have you done any work with scanning, filing?
Yes. We did that as well. Like if they wanted to scan important documents to other companies, we would do that. They could email it to us, or we had a equipment set up in the back that we can ship items out for.
Okay. What about data entry? Have you done that at any of your positions? Because you also worked at a bank, I see. Any type of data entry?
Yes, we did more in the bank side. It was more like money wise, entering mortgage information, banking information into the system to make sure that's right, so we can give them a statement each month. And then
Mhm.
with its safe ship, the other company, we were doing data entry for shipping labels to have
Mm,
shipped out
okay.
to different places.
So, how do you maintain accuracy when you are, entering all of that very important information? Like, what do you have any tips, or like what do you do to make sure that that is accurate?
Well, we use Excel sheets. So each client that we would put into the system, we would, kind of check them off. We have their information just to make sure that we don't get them crossed, like cross and send a package to the wrong person. So we do sell, and they also had a software there called Indicia that we
Hmm.
use that would store the client's information there. Banking was
But
the
when you're entering it, how do you personally ensure that you are entering the accurate information? As humans, we sometimes can make mistakes. So how do you make sure that you personally are accurate?
So you want to ask the client, like, can you please specify last name? Make sure you spell the name, address. You want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
the address is spelled right. Never assume anything, but always ask questions.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
taught a 3 points way. At the beginning, in the middle, and then the end, you ask just to make sure for accuracy.
So what if you're entering data like from a sheet? I've worked in different type of admin roles, and maybe I had to, I had like a stack of papers, and I needed to make sure I'm entering all of that information accurately into a spreadsheet. How do you maintain accuracy there?
So for me, each client had their own individual folder. They had the
Hmm.
name and their documentation. So when I was done with that client and I've entered them in the system, they would create their own folder and then it would go into a file. And then I would go on to the next client. So we would just have them separated so not to get them mixed up.
What type of double checking do you do for yourself to make sure that you didn't make typos? Do you go back and like look it over and make sure that everything is correct and cross reference?
Correct. I highlight and then I like to initial. So the next person that sees it would know that I'm the one that handled it. So if they had questions, they would just come back to me.
So once you entered it, then you double checked it, then you initial it. Okay, I like that. That definitely works. So when you were with the bank, what bank were you working with?
So I work with BB&T. Well, now they're True.
Hmm. Okay, perfect. And tell me about your computer skills.
Oh, I have over at least 10 years of computer skills.
Okay.
Every job that I've ever had, I've done typing and been in front of a computer. So you had to know about Microsoft Excel. I've had to present PowerPoints about different products.
Okay. Now, why don't you tell me, as being in a leadership type role, for the safe ship, what makes a good candidate? Like, what in you would make a good candidate? Like, if you were looking at and you were interviewing yourself, what skills, what traits would you have that you would say, wow, that's a good candidate?
Someone who is reliable and who also
Okay.
is willing to give feedback and actually accept it too. You can't always be a one-sided. You got to be willing to listen to as well. And
Okay.
I would say encourage the person when they've done
Hmm.
something good and also give feedback so they can improve. That's a
Okay. So, jumping and piggybacking off of that, like I said before, we're all human. If you've made a mistake, what do you do to rectify that and make sure it doesn't happen again? How do you handle that when you make a mistake?
I ask questions. I want to know what did I do to make that mistake so it won't never happen again. Because it could be something that I
Okay,
don't. So
great. And then lastly, tell me about an approach that you would use if you are handling a task that you don't understand. I think I know the answer to it because we've talked about it quite a bit in this part of the interview about asking the questions. But like, let's say someone gave you something to do. How would you approach that if you don't know what to do?
I ask questions.
Okay.
Uh, Also, not even ask questions. Some things I feel like are common sense. So I kind
Yeah.
of do based on what I've been taught previously from
Okay.
other skills. But the biggest thing is asking questions when I don't know something.
Okay. Great. I appreciate that. And I think that does come back to some of your other skill sets that I do want to talk about. So I understand that you're also an intern and you do some intern work. So tell me a little bit about for your education and then the type of, um, you said it was more consulting work.
Yeah, I'm an actual counselor. So my degrees, I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling.
Hmm.
So I help both all ages with mental illnesses. Um,
Okay.
I actually walk them through life when they are facing things that they don't know what to do with them, and I give them coping skills to overcome them. Although it will never go away, the coping skills will help them thrive through life.
Okay. And when, tell me about, because we talked about this off camera, but when do you do that type of work? Is that outside of a normal work week hours?
Yeah, it's mostly when kids are out of school, like 6, 7 o'clock at night. That's usually when I do counseling with them. It doesn't really,
Hmm.
I create my own schedule. So whatever schedule I have, I can curate my clients around that. So,
Okay. So how many more hours do you have to complete your training? Because you said that you're an intern, so do you need to match a certain amount of hours to then start doing this position on your own?
well, I actually do it on my own now. So I'm a
Okay.
contractor, so I do my own thing. I have years of hours to,
Years.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And the reason why I'm asking that, ideally, of course, the positions that I'm hiring for right now are temp to perm type positions. So they're looking for someone to come in and work for them and work for us. But ultimately, they're spending the time and training for to train you for this role to hopefully have you join the team.
Mhm.
For that. So that's why I was asking if it you were looking for something just very temp work or if you were looking for something ongoing. And I think you answered that with the hours that you still have to do. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to record this part. I'm going to go ahead and stop. I'll be right back, but don't hang up.
Okay.